Hey everyone, Rob here from First Session. We connect Canadians with the right therapist for you. Today I have a special guest, a NHL player, friend of mine, Riley Sheahan, who we're going to chat about his mental health story and a little bit about mental health in the National Hockey League. And Riley is here. Hey,
Rob, what's going on?
not much. How are you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure.
I like your backdrop there. You look like you got a helicopter above you.
Yeah, I know. I'm back home at my parents' house. We're just trying to get a move. We're moving out to Chicago tomorrow. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
amazing, amazing. Well, congrats on another season complete.
thank you very much. It was a grind. COVID's
How?
been putting everyone in a twister. So, just like everyone, we struggled to get through it, but it was awesome. It was still fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good outlook. How many seasons was that now in the league?
I'm closing in right around 10 years of professional hockey, and then I'd be like nine and a half seasons in the NHL. So, kind of that amounts to around like 550, 560 games. So yeah, it's been a grind, but it's been awesome.
That's huge. That's huge. Congrats.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump to a little bit of intro for you, so anyone who's watching who doesn't know you, like I do, can get a sense, and then we can hop right into it. So yeah, welcome Riley. Riley Sheahan is a Canadian professional ice hockey player from the Buffalo Sabres of the NHL. He was drafted 21st overall by the Detroit Red Wings in the 2010 entry draft. Also played for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers. Riley has learned the critical aspects of mental health throughout his career and the effects it has both on and off the ice. Reading, journaling, and spending time in nature are a few keys to the mental side of Riley's game. Welcome, Riley. Good to have you, man.
No, this is great. It's great. You're doing a good thing here, Rob. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. So
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so good to reconnect. We got a couple of Sabres fans in the house, it looks like, as well. So yeah, thank you for being open for this. You're actually our first male guest. That's a big stuff. Thank you. And yeah, so what can you tell us with your relationship to mental health and when it kind of came on your radar and when you started thinking about it more?
yeah, I mean, I think when I look back at it, I've always had little clues here and there, like that I suffered from certain um, attributes that kind of float around the mental health space. And even when I was young, I would get really uncomfortable in certain situations and kind of get that panicky feeling that as I got older, I started to notice more and it was kind of coming on more. And as I started feeling the pressure of hockey, it kind of compiled. So I think maybe my first year of professional hockey, I went to go get checked out and I wasn't really enjoying hockey. I just kind of wanted to talk to someone and they said I had a little bit of depression. And kind of since then, I've been able to sort of put together a plan to figure out what makes me feel the best and how I can perform and sort of treat myself better and kind of go day by day and live a better life. So yeah, it's definitely it was a confusing time when you're growing up and you don't really understand the feeling because there's so many external pressures and distractions and things like that. But to sort of label it and then figure it out and come up with a plan, it's been huge. And there's so many resources out there, like exactly what you're doing, I think can help a ton. So it's been a good journey.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So your first year in pro, did you say that's when you went and got checked out? Like what before you decided to do that, what was like was that an easy step for you to take to reach out or like did you have encouragement from your community or what happened there?
Yeah, so I remember I had a weekend where I was supposed to travel to go play when I was playing in the AHL in Grand Rapids for Detroit's farm team. And I told my teammates that I was feeling sick, and I told the organization that I had something going on, and through my agent, just told them that I needed to get some stuff figured out. And the Red Wings were so supportive. And when we got back from the trip, and I talked to the front office and told them what was going on, they were nothing but supportive, which made me feel even better because sometimes you question where if you come out to somebody who's in charge of your position or your job, then maybe they're going to be a little bit judgmental. But they were amazing, and that really kind of gave me comfort and started taking the steps towards feeling better. And they were good about checking in to see how I was doing every once in a while. And but yeah, it was tough, kind of going through that whole time and not really realizing what I was feeling. And I actually I was kind of at the age where like alcohol was kind of like everybody went out on the weekends, and I just found myself like my relationship with that wasn't very good, and I kind of was abusing myself a little too much. And I started to realize it was because I was just kind of uncomfortable in situations where I had to meet a lot of people, and your eyes are always on you as a professional athlete. So I just didn't deal with those pressures well. So once I established it and was able to kind of cope with it, it helped a ton.
That's amazing, man. And did you have a hard time finding like someone to work with? Did you get a recommendation from the league or like a therapist or psychologist or something like that?
Yeah, so there's a psychologist that's affiliated with each team. I worked with one that was just recommended, just through some mutual friends and whatnot. And
Awesome.
yeah, it was pretty easy to find, and he was a big help. And I've worked with many different ones throughout my journey, but just to have somebody reliable to talk to and kind of explain to you from a science perspective too what's going on in your head, and also being able to relate that to what you're actually feeling, it was huge for me.
That's great, man. That's great. So that was like almost 10 years ago or around 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow. And that kind of brings me to my next question, which I've been dying to ask for a long time. Is like, I guess, what was the state of the conversation? I mean, you mentioned being nervous going into your team and telling them that you were looking for some help. But I'm just curious, like, what was your, like, you were nervous because of the team and like, you know, your employer basically you were telling, but also like what about teammates? What about like the rest of the league at that time? And I guess the next part of my question will be like, has anything changed to today, in terms of just the state of the mental health conversation in the NHL?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too, because I really haven't shared with many people that I've had these sort of feelings until like recently. So I would tell the guys who I was close with, but I don't know if like anyone really like understands. Like you tell them that you have a little anxiety, but I never really like put my whole story out there and really told them what I was feeling in certain situations. I kind of just would swallow it and kind of just let those emotions sort of build. I think now guys are starting to speak out more, and more athletes, especially male athletes, are understanding how important it is, not only for your athletic performance, but just for life in general. And I think like there used to be a little bit of a fear of just that being your man's man and being some macho guy that you couldn't speak about your feelings or you couldn't share those. But I think now that so many people suffer from mental health issues and there's so many external distractions, whether it's social media and trying to compare yourself to people who consider themselves celebrities and things like that, I think just kind of just being upfront with it, talking about it, having meaningful conversations, it's starting to become more popular. And I see it in the NHL, and there's been a handful of guys who've spoken out, and then around the other sports too. So it's definitely cool to see. And if you can relate yourself to a fan who's maybe struggling and can kind of help someone out that way, it's huge.
That's incredible. And I'm curious, like, obviously you worked your butt off to get to where you are, and to get to the league, to get to the NHL. And the fact that, I mean, it sounds like you had been drafted, you know, when you first reached out for help. Like my assumption has been like you worked your ass off so hard, and then you kind of got there, and like at that point, did you feel any kind of like you'd kind of made it? I mean, at the time, sounds like you're with the farm team, but like, what did you feel like some sort of guilt around? Like, you know, I'm now like drafted first round, I'm in the NHL, but like, why am I feeling bad now? Like, I should be feeling good. Like, how, what, like, was that a thing?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like you. I feel it even to this day where, and it's a lot easier for me now because I recognize it. But I mean, I think at that age when you get drafted and you have all this attention on you, you get to the NHL and you're playing alongside guys who are like your hockey idols. Like I was fortunate enough to play with like Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk and these guys, and you kind of I felt like my first 3 years or so, I was just feeding off adrenaline that I was in the same locker room as these guys. I was getting to play. I was playing pretty well. And then it kind of goes where you have to be consistent. You have to find this energy every day to come to the rink, and it can be really taxing. And then if you start underperforming, you're compiling that on too. So I found for sure, like what you said, like some of my best games where I've played my heart out and maybe I've scored or whatever, the game comes to an end and it's like you've hit this like wall almost. And it's not, I wouldn't say a depressive state, but you're like, okay, well, that was unbelievable in the moment and I played great. And now I'm getting a little bit of attention for my efforts out there. But yeah, I'm not content or I'm not happy. So that's really when I started to dig a little deeper and try to start understanding like the power of your mind and kind of like when you can focus on negativity and things like that, how much it can compile up in your brain and sort of create these bad habits and bad thinking patterns.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. No, it's super powerful. Looks like we got some fellow St. Catharines residents in the mix here. Yeah, Riley and I are from the same town, St. Catharines, Ontario. Represent.
We played a little too every now and then. Played together, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, our team. I was a year older than Riley, and our team. Instead of calling up people our age, they called up Riley. He was a year younger because he was better than everyone else. Which it was a pleasure to have you. Yeah, yeah. I no longer play. So I was curious about you know, like you're 10 years in, you've been on 5 teams. Your recent contract was 1 year. Is that right?
Yeah.
You know,
it wasn't certain off the start. So it was a professional tryout.
okay.
Yeah.
And you're engaged now. Congrats. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're worrying now more than just about yourself, it sounds like. And, you know, how do you like now? So you're in the league, you're around 30 years old. Have you turned 30 yet?
No, turning 30 in December.
Nice. How, like, what now? Like, I mean, has this mental performance, mental health become even more important now? Like, you're on shorter contracts. You might move around. Like, tell me how you stay well right now.
Yeah, it's definitely that part of it's tough because it's not like I'm just moving around by myself. I think 2 years ago I signed in Edmonton, not until like September. So training camp obviously starts like September 10th. So I went the whole off season kind of questioning where I was going to be. So that was stressful. And then last summer again, the same happened. So yeah, it definitely, I think that whole shift of taking care of yourself mentally definitely helps that uncertainty. And you have uncertainty throughout the whole year too with trades and I guess in my position where there's a little bit of instability and signing 1-year contracts there, those are the guys that are kind of a little more easy to get rid of and throw into trades, and guys at my age now too. So there's always that uncertainty. But I mean, my fiance, I think she might be on here too, Keisha. She's amazing. Like she kind of holds the fort down, and so that helps a ton when you have someone like that in your corner. And then just kind of, like I said, knowing your emotions, knowing what you're going to feel, and just trying to be proactive.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah. When you hear about like people in your position on like a 1-year contract, when you hear and the media, people are getting interviewed, and players are getting interviewed about like, you know, trade rumors, and you know, you hear someone saying like, I'm just gonna focus on my game. Like, how hard is it to focus just on your game? at that
Yeah,
point?
it's hard for sure. I remember when I first got traded from Detroit to Pittsburgh, there was rumors floating around, and I asked our GM about it, and he's like, just there's nothing gonna happen. He pretty much just told me nothing was gonna happen, and then I got traded like a week later. But I think all in the kind of he had the mindset of just the more distracted you are, the worse off you're gonna be. So, but once it happens once, for me it was actually like kind of a breath of fresh air and a new opportunity, and it actually reignited my career a bit. So I think each guy deals with it in a different way, but for me, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed getting to know new guys, and I was going to Pittsburgh, which was a great team. Um, so I think now, like as I get older, I just really focus in on like just being grateful to be able to go to a hockey rink every morning. And I'm hanging around. Like my team this year was, for the most part, everybody was 20, 23, 24 years old and under, with a few guys closer to my age. And it was so fun seeing their energy, and I think just being grateful for opportunities like that, and being able to see guys like that sort of grow, and looking at the little things a little more than trying to kind of let those negative emotions weigh on you, and let that anxiety, maybe a little bit uncertain in the future what could happen, laying that weigh on you. So I direct that to my hockey career, but I also direct that to my life too. So just being grateful for the little things and trying to adjust your attitude a bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you mentioned earlier too, like when you were younger, obviously there's a lot of people who are partying more, and like you said, your relationship with that kind of turned, didn't really serve you anymore. It sounded like yeah. When did that kind of realization, like what was that realization like, and then what have you done to make sure that like substances aren't affecting you negatively in the
Yeah,
long mid-term?
I'll be honest. I used to love I I used to love drinking at that age. I was in kind of that college age and growing up through like the professional hockey ranks and that journey. Like you kind of, as negative as it sounds, you get some attention for doing funny things, and having some good stories or whatever. And I thought that was like what was normal. And unfortunately, I think just with our society is like pushed to be like, you're sort of pushed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell under that trap, and I kind of sort of spoiled that whole part of life, drinking and then aging with friends. I think a lot of my memories kind of resort to bad memories. So I think just as I got older, I started to understand that, and then I started to have more valuable conversation with people, and really enjoy just engaging in meaningful conversation. And I mean, I'll experiment here and there with drinking a bit, and it depends on who I'm around, if I'm with the people who I'm close with and stuff. But if I'm in a situation I'm uncomfortable with, I used to just kind of slam some beers and just get drunk, and then I would open me up. But then I kind of do some stuff that I'd regret. So I think just understanding that too. I mean, those substances can be pretty dangerous, but
Yeah.
the addiction part, all that. So I'm glad I got out of that.
Yeah, I've been there as well. Definitely been there.
Well, it's hard
Yeah,
because everybody, it's such a normal thing now, right? And you
yeah,
don't think you're doing anything wrong, and there's nothing wrong about it. But just for me personally, I just couldn't handle it kind of at that time in my life. I just didn't really have enough button. So,
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Good for you for saying that. Yeah. And so, for your like, it sounds like you've been working on this for at least 10 years, as far as like, I guess maybe more consciously aware of like mental health in your life, in your career, and for the long term. Like, what do you do to help you maintain a level of wellness that you want?
yeah, I mean, I think, well, biggest thing is just having people close to you where you could engage in valuable conversation. I read an article. I took a class over the summer, and our professor gave us an article. It's about vulnerability, and just being able to understand that we're all vulnerable. We go through our whole lives, and we're vulnerable at any point. So you can rely on people to help you through that. And I remember the article saying, like, you come into the world as a child and you rely so much on your parents and nurses and everything, and you leave the world so reliant on your kids or whoever that takes care of you. And then in that time in the middle, you're kind of relied on or you're just supposed to be independent. And it's like you strive to be independent. You can take care of yourself and things like that. And that's great. And obviously, if you can take care of yourself and live a successful life, that's great. But there are going to be times where you need to rely on other people, and those moments of chaos and where things really hit you, you got to reach out to people. You got to have people in your corner. So it's important for me to be able to have those conversations, and then like little things like journaling and I mean, I don't know, I'm not a big meditation guy, but just being able to sit in silence and breathe, visualize. I use it for hockey and then just life too, how I want to be and how I want to act as a person. So all those little things here and there. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've got a lot more into reading now, so trying to like be a little more productive rather than get caught in some of the traps that this new society can push on you, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Yeah, what I wouldn't like what kind of traps? I think I know what you mean, but I mean, do you?
I'll be honest. I do play a good amount of video games. I don't know. I saw Paulie Sergano sign on here. I knew Paulie really well. We play a lot together, and Dan, his brother, and nice. So I'll play a decent amount of video games as like my, just let myself focus on something, talk with my buddies, and have some fun there.
Yeah.
But you just see how obsessive I think a lot of kids are with their phone and with video games and social media. Like Instagram kills me sometimes. I sometimes get caught being on that too much, but just having that awareness that there's some traps out there and you just got to be careful.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Well put. So you also play, like, you also play guitar, you sing. I've heard a couple of your SoundClouds during when the NHL wasn't playing. You recorded a couple of SoundCloud mixes.
Yeah, we got into the guitar. My fiance actually, we found out she's a really good singer, so it was fun to be able to jam together with her.
That's amazing. Yeah. Hey, Paul. I see you in the comments. Good to see you, man. Amazing. Yeah. So the other thing is like journaling, you said. So what do you write about?
Yeah, I mean, I start usually every day. I try to get in. I'll write out like 3 gratitudes, just 3 little things that I'm grateful for. And it's all over the map, from big things to just little things, just so I can kind of build that thinking pattern. And then I change it up. Usually I'll write about like how I want to live, kind of some affirmations, some I am statements about how I want to be that day or just in general. And then I can kind of bounce all over the place. Sometimes I'll write a letter to my younger self, or look at a picture and kind of write about what I see in the picture. If there's something memorable in the picture, then something that's important to me, I'll write about it. And then I have like a journal that's kind of guided, where it gives you prompts and kind of gets you to dig a little deeper and write some stuff down.
That's amazing. Yeah, cool. And so I know you recently joined a platform to like share more, parts of your life. Tell us a little bit about that and where people might be able to find more out about you.
Yeah, so torchpro.com is the website. And the whole goal for it is to give fans and youth sort of a behind the scenes look on what athletes go through day to day, and kind of key moments in their journey and how they train, how they eat, and then just things that they do away from the rink that give them happiness or put them in a good headspace. So right now we're building it up, and there's some good athletes on there with some good stories. And I knew growing up, if I could ever see, I don't know, I was a big Rick Nash fan, or Peter Forsberg. If I could ever see them and how they lived and how they trained and drills that they worked on, I definitely would have been pretty enthralled. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. So it's been fun so far.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, torchpro.com. I've checked it out myself. Some pretty cool athletes on there. That's amazing. And you're on Instagram here. I see that people can follow you now. Anywhere else where people can find you?
I'm really just Instagram. I have a Twitter. I know it's pretty. I haven't used it in a few years now. But yeah, Instagram really is just my main thing, and then getting involved with Torch. So
Awesome. Yeah. Finally, what are the plans for the off season this year? What are you gonna do?
we bought a place in Chicago, so we'll spend summer in Chicago. My fiance and I will get married. Just the two of us. We're kind of COVID put a damper on our wedding plans, so we're gonna have to postpone that. But we're headed up to California here just for a little vacation in the next few days, and then Chicago to train. And summer in Chicago is nice. A lot of restaurants, a lot of things to do. Cubs game maybe here and there. Just enjoy the sun.
Amazing. That's great to hear, man. I got married during COVID. We had a private wedding. It was supposed to be 180 people, and it was 5 people. So it's worth it, man. It's worth it, and it sounds like you got a great partner. So I'm super happy for you. Thank you so much for taking your time, and I'll definitely chat with you again. It sounds like you got tons to share with people.
All right, thanks. Appreciate what you're doing here again.
Thanks so much, man. Take care.